Okay, so today we're going to be talking about God's love, in particular in the movie The Preacher's Wife, okay? So, two main things I really want to talk about is temptation and belief, okay? The movie opens up in the middle of a sermon or a beginning uh, of the sermon about temptation. And it just goes to show how God's love is foreshadowing. He will tell you in advance, hey, you're going to face this. Watch out for that. And so I thought it was funny that the first thing they talk about in the movie is temptation, and we know that the preacher's wife ends up um, being tempted later by Denzel. And so when I thought about where temptation is in the Bible, I not only thought about the stories, but I also thought about when temptation happens in our lives, right? When we're like extremely happy, when Adam and Eve, they find each other, or Adam finds Eve, realizes she's his literally missing rib, and they're married, they become one flesh, they are literally tempted right after, right? So that's out of Genesis 3:3. Even though Eve knows, she tells the serpent, no, we're not supposed to eat. She allows the enemy to creep in, and she second guesses, and she sees the tree, she eats the fruit, and Adam, for whatever reason, him knowing that he's not supposed to eat, ends up eating it as well, the forbidden fruit. So they fall into temptation right after something great happens, right? So we think about when temptation comes, one way it comes is when something great happens, and then on the flip side of that, Cain is tempted to do something bad after he has experienced, I guess, jealousy, fits of rage, and God warns him. He's like, hey, you are like right on the verge of sinning. Be careful. And what does he do? He ends up sinning. He kills his brother. So temptation also comes when we've opened up the door for the enemy to influence us by making us mad or bitter. So temptation comes when we're extremely happy. Temptation comes when we're extremely mad. And temptation comes when we are like in the wilderness. Like when Jesus was tempted after his 40-day fast. But we learn from Jesus out of Matthew chapter 4, when we are tempted, we are to respond with the word of God. In this case, the second time the enemy tempts Jesus, he even tempts him with the word. And the only reason why I know that is because I recite Psalm 91 a lot. So when I came back and read how the enemy is like, throw yourself down, it is written that the angels will save you. Which in this case, you would be tempting God by doing that. But the fact that he even tests Jesus by tempting him by using the word of God, first of all, means the enemy knows his word. Do you? Second of all, what it reminds me of is people being deceived by people who are quote unquote evangelist, prophets, internet preachers who may seem like they know the word but don't really live it or truly know it, and people who don't read the Bible for themselves won't know the difference, and so they are deceived. So that comes to mind. So temptation is a really big theme, and like I said, God's love for us is foreshadowing, meaning He will warn us, He will prepare us. Through visions, dreams, through words, just through alone time with Him, His love is foreshadowing. And the next biggest theme in the movie that displays God's love is belief. Not only belief, but God came through for the pastor, but the pastor didn't even believe that Dudley was an angel. The pastor asked for help. Help came. But he didn't believe he was an angel. He didn't believe he was there to help. And how it displays God's love is we will ask for things, we will ask for help, and sometimes help may come in a way we may not expect. Sometimes we think it's too good to be true, or sometimes we won't recognize it because we are expected to see it come in a certain way or a certain package. But God's love is persistent, right? Dudley was persistent. He's like, no, I'm an angel. No, I'm going to be here. I'm going to this meeting with you, even though you don't want me to be here. And even though I don't think you should make that decision, I'm still going to, put in my 2 cents. Like, yes, God's a gentleman, but at the same time, He gives us grace and warning, right? He sends people in your life to help you, and it's up to you to believe your prayers. Like, you ask for help, assume and expect help's coming, right? God's love is also in the movie expressed through motherly love. Her mom, the preacher's wife's mom, towards the end of the movie is like, I see the way you look at him. Nope, you married woman. You need to stay away. And then she also tells Dudley, you need to go. I see the way she look at you. You need to go. So that's motherly love. Brotherly love is displayed in the movie. Marriage is displayed. I think it's a healthy way to display marriage in the fact that things are kind of crumbling around the pastor. It shows that he's human, right? Because just because you're a pastor, just because you're an evangelist, just because you are someone of faith, doesn't mean you have a high level of faith at all times. Because life will hit you, and sometimes it knocks you down, and sometimes it's just like you're in the thick of your journey and it's just like desolate, and sometimes you can get stuck there. So when help does come, you may not see it. I think that is they depicted the pastor with humility. Like, he's human. And I've never been married. I haven't been married yet, but I know what it looks like to work with people who are married and end up having affairs. So I like that they depicted how he was very busy, that he was a man of service, man of God, and at the end of the day, they still ended up together. Like, she didn't go run off somebody. I think it's just a depiction of how marriages could have ups and downs and they still end up together, where in some cases people would have been rooting for Whitney and Denzel. And I think I remember as a kid rooting for them, not really knowing anything about adultery or anything like that. So this was a cool movie to revisit. I encourage you to revisit, and then also just ask yourself, have there been instances where you have asked God for something and He could have sent it to you, but you didn't recognize it because it didn't come in a package that you were expecting? God's sovereign. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called. Everything happens for a reason. Yes. Yes. Those things for sure. But I think we need to start being believers. If we are a believer, we need to act like it and believe that our prayers will be answered. Like, we ask for something and just expect for it to come. And be open by the way in which it comes.